morning. I'm Pamela Manners, Chair of the Commission on School Accreditation. This special call meeting of the Commission on School Accreditation is being held today, Tuesday, November 18th, 2025, at 8:30 a.m. via teleconference. The public is available to attend from the Senator Gray Sarah's Boardroom, 369 Northwest Street, Jackson, Mississippi. The meeting is being live streamed via the MDE YouTube channel. An audio recording is being made of this meeting, and minutes of the meeting will be recorded. As I call the names of the commission members, please state the location of your presence for this meeting. Anthony Bryant.
Present, Tupelo, Mississippi.
Thank you. Dr. John Mark Kane. Judge Betsy Cotton.
Present, Yazoo City, Yazoo County.
Thank you. Dr. Carla Evers.
Present, Ocean Springs, Mississippi.
Thank you. Patrice Guilfoyle.
Present, Jackson, Mississippi.
Thank you. Jeremy Ham.
Present,
Tony
Meridian,
Kirsch.
Mississippi.
All right, thank you. Tony Kirsch.
Present, Jackson, Mississippi.
Thank you. And I'm Pam Manners, and I'm in Biloxi. Aisha Maxwell.
Present, Horn Lake, Mississippi.
Thank you. Carter Myers.
Present, Oxford, Mississippi.
Thank you. Brad Stevens.
Present, Angry, Mississippi.
Thank you. Dr. Sarah Wilborn.
Present, Ellisville, Mississippi.
Thank you. And Ingrid Williams.
Present, Clinton, Mississippi.
And thank you. A quorum of the commission is present for the purpose of conducting this meeting. The meeting is called to order at 8:33 a.m. We're on item number 2, which is the adoption of this agenda. Commission members, you've received a copy of the agenda. Please note this is a special called meeting, and therefore the only business that can be transacted is that which has been specified in the call for this meeting. At this time, I will entertain a motion for approval of today's agenda. And please identify yourself as you make a motion. May I have a motion?
Judge Carla Edwards.
Okay.
Carla Edwards, second.
All right, Dr. Evers seconded. The motion was made by Judge Cotton. All right, is there any discussion before we take this for the vote? Okay, if not, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, the motion carries. On item number 3 is a discussion item. Recommendation of the Accountability Task Force and the Standard Study Committee to change the A through F performance level cuts for schools and districts as established in the Mississippi statewide accountability system, effective with 2025-2026 school year in accordance with Mississippi Code annotated 37-17-65. And Mr. Al Burrow will present this information. Good morning, Mr. Burrow.
Good morning.
Alan, before you get started, just FYI, Dr. Kane is now on. Dr. Kane, could you state your location for us?
Yes, John Mark, Lauderdale County, Refuge.
Okay, and also I wanted to make a note, just so that everyone is aware, Dr. Lance Evans, our state superintendent, is on the call with us too. So Alan, at this point, I will take down my screen and let you start sharing yours. Oh, you already are sharing yours. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, yeah, I was about to say, I hope it's sharing. All right, good morning, everyone. You have a backup, a report that was provided by the Center for Assessment that facilitated our standard setting. And it kind of details some of the process, and the members of the standard setting committee, which included representatives from the House, the Senate, and the governor's office, as well as superintendents local superintendents, representatives from districts that work in accountability and assessment. We had a commission member, Dr. Evers, and we had a state board member, Lynn East, that also serves on the standard setting committee. So what I'll do is just go through some background and walk you through the process, and then present the recommended new cuts for standard setting. So I will just, as usual, point out the importance of accountability and assessment in our strategic planning goals and our vision and mission to work to drive improvement of student outcomes. And hopefully the standard setting process will help contribute to that. I'm going to provide a little bit of background information just so everyone is clear on how we got to where we are and why we're doing standard setting. In the world of assessment and accountability, when you do standard setting, you're usually doing it because something changed. But in Mississippi, we have in state law that when 65% of schools in your districts are earning a grade of B or higher, that the standards would be reset. And so we have reached that threshold, and that occurred first in 2023, and then again in 2024. This past year's accountability results were slightly under that 65% threshold for districts and schools as we saw a leveling out of efficiency and a reduction in growth. We believe primarily a reflection of impact coming out of the pandemic. But nevertheless, we met the threshold for resetting standards, and we committed to the legislature to do so. And we have established a timeline for doing the standard setting process beginning in January of this year. We had the county task force meet to talk about different methods for standard setting and to make some recommendations. We released preliminary data from this year's accountability system in August and was able to use that data to tee up the accountability standard setting. We wanted to use this year's data because we wanted to get as far out from pandemic impact as possible and get as clean as data as possible to use in standard setting. We feel like we accomplished that. So this first standard setting meeting was on September the 9th. I'll walk through what they did at the separate meetings. And then the second final meeting was on October 13th. In our timeline, we had planned to publish the cuts for schools and districts by the end of October. We did release the preliminary recommendations, although acknowledging that they're not official until accepted by the commission and by the state board. And then the next step will be, once they're official, we will run the accountability system using last year's data and the new cuts and provide that to schools and districts so that they know what their letter grade would have been based on last year. Just as a plan.
Briefly, when we talk about
and basically that is just to answer what is good enough to achieve a designated score or rating, and for us in Mississippi, that's an A through F rating. We operationalize that as a cut score that we get from the composite accountability score that the school or district earns each year. And we map that to a scale to identify what is minimally acceptable for each letter grade rating. So there's a couple approaches to standard setting. There's a norm referenced approach, which was applied when this was done last in 2016. And in that approach, it's basically rank ordering schools. We compare elementary middle schools, and then separately high schools, and then separately districts. we rank order those, and we establish a set distribution. So, for example, only 10% of schools should get an
That would
A.
be a purely norm referenced approach. We did not do that this time. We did a hybrid approach, but we incorporated more criterion reference, and that comes in the form of the performance level descriptors, which I'll speak more to shortly. But the recommendation from the task force initially was that we take a hybrid approach in this standard setting. So there's an established process for setting standards, especially in the world of assessment, but this can be also applied to accountability, and that's what we did. Some guidelines to go on are that standard setting should reflect policy priorities. It should be informed by judgments from a group of experts, and that would have been our standard setting committee. And then we want the process to be transparent and well documented, because the process itself is what is the defensibility of performance standards. So this is what the process generally looked like. The first meeting that occurred on September 9th, was to establish some performance level descriptors for schools that would define what it is to earn an overall letter grade of A, B, C, D, or F for elementary schools and high schools. And so the committee went through several rounds, which you see in the little graphic at the bottom down there, where there was group discussion. There was time for committee members to complete their feedback forms, and then for everybody to review the results in the aggregate, anonymous, so they didn't know who provided what feedback. And then the process would repeat. And so each time that would repeat, you would see slight adjustments in those performance level descriptors as we got to more consensus among the group. Phase 2 was October 13th, and that is where we actually had the impact data from accountability that we could then apply to the performance level descriptors that were established in the first meeting to get to our final recommendation for cuts. And again, we went through this process where there was rounds of feedback and review. And then the report that you received as the backup was the final product. So what are the performance level descriptors? We use the performance level descriptors to provide meaning and context for accountability scores. So for A through F ratings, they did not replace the overall score, the index score. That remains a part of our accountability system, that we calculate a composite score based on each accountability component. And then the performance level descriptor should depict a common or prototypical representation of what school performance corresponds to each letter grade. And so what are the PLDs that were established? I'll briefly step through these, but an A recognizes high rates of proficiency and high rates of growth for all students and students in the low 25. A B recognizes a high-performing school where students are generally exhibiting high rates of proficiency or high rates of growth for all students in the low 25. A C recognizes a school that is meeting expectations. A C is the level at which a school has met the standard. They have moderate rates of proficiency or moderate rates of growth for all students and all students in the low 25 group. And a D is a school that is exhibiting unsatisfactory performance and has low rates of proficiency or low rates of growth for all students in the low 25 group. So this just shows a little example of the profiles that the committee looked at when they were establishing these cuts. So we have two made-up school names here. We masked all the school and district names to the committee, so they were using actual data and this would represent an actual school from last year's accountability. And so generally in this example, the school on the left would have been given a B rating, and the school on the right would have given a C rating. But just as so you can see kind of the profile approach that the committee was looking at. Okay, and then this next slide depicts a tool that the committee was using that allowed them to view in real time the distribution of letter grades based on the established cuts. So you'll see they were able to sort by either elementary, middle schools, which are our 700 schools, or high schools, or 1,000-point schools, and then 1,000-point districts. And they could enter in the different cuts in the chart, and it would provide them the distribution, the number and the percent of schools or districts based on their cuts. So they were able to get live feedback on their decision making. And these are the cuts that were final outcome of the meetings. The next slide really provides more context, because here you can compare the cuts from the final cuts versus the cuts that were already established. And you can see the shift of the percent distribution for each letter grade assignment. And this, again, is in the backup report. Okay, are there any questions about that process or the outcome or the report?
Alan, John Mark Kane, I have a question for you, please, sir.
Sure.
I heard you mention that the threshold had been met a couple of times that triggered the reset, and I think you stated that would be 65%, which was that threshold. Since we did dip below that, and these cuts are being established, if the outcome data puts us above that 65% again, are we looking at another forced resetting with the current language?
Yeah, we actually discussed that with the standard setting committee. So there was, in the final rounds, discussion about that final outcome. There was some discussion about, or are the cuts sufficient, or does it move the bar enough so that we're not back in the next year or two resetting standards again because we've met that threshold? And the general consensus from the group was, well, that would be a good problem to have. If everybody moves up and meets the standards and we are improving student outcomes, then yes, we would do another standard setting based on what's established in state law.
Thank you, sir.
Do we have any other questions for Mr. Burrow? No? All right, then at this time, we'll move on to item 4, which is an action item. I will entertain a motion to approve the recommended A through F performance level cuts for schools and districts as established in the Mississippi statewide accountability system effective with the 2025-26 school year in accordance with Mississippi Code annotated 37-17-6-5. And as you make the motion, please identify yourself. May I have a motion, please?
Carla Evers, I move approval.
Thank you, Dr. Evers. And may I have a second, please?
Judge Cotton, second.
All right, thank you, Judge Cotton. Is there any discussion before we call for the vote? Then if not, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, thank you. The motion carries. And we're on to item 5, which is the adjournment. And at this time, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. May I have a motion, please? And please identify yourself.
Sarah Wilborn, so moved.
Thank you, Dr. Wilborn. And may I have a second?
Anthony Bryant, second.
Thank you, Mr. Bryant. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, thank you. We are adjourned at 8:51 a.m. Thank you all, and hope you enjoy your upcoming Thanksgiving holiday. And I think we have a meeting at the beginning of next month, so we'll see you then. Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
everybody.